Hi, this is Kim Pinkney and welcome to my channel. Alrighty, so another day of working on my webcomic. This is chapter 2 and I'm trying to finish this up. And just to give you guys a quick peek at what I've got going on, let me go ahead and open that up. And I'll just go ahead and scroll through some of the pages that I did finish or in the process of finishing. I had to come back, redo, and what I actually need to do is well, see, I see a spot that I didn't even finish. Oh well, shit, it is what it is. Okay, so yeah, so every time I come through this, I can see where I need to fix things. I always see just a little bit more. This is just a bunch of heads trying to get ahead. Let's see, so where am I going to start today? Okay, so the last two pages that I need to finish or at least do something to is this one right here, where he's messing with him. He's looking at his badge, which is a freaking huge ass badge. I need to make it smaller, but you know what, it is what it is. I'm proud of this damn badge, as proud of this dude. And I should say something like in here, oh, you're pretty proud of that badge, aren't you? That badge is pretty huge. Overcompensating for something, something like that. I need to throw a little modicum of humor into it. So I'm going to be working on this one this morning, and also this one. This one is basically we're setting it up so that Bryce kind of lets everyone know that this is what he got kicked out of the military for, or why he left the military. And it's just going to be kind of in passing type of thing, because when you're in the military and you're a newbie starting out, you're surrounded by a lot of people, and if this stuff takes effect it's doing now, he'd be sick as a dog, and everybody around him would be just I can't sleep, type of thing. And it's probably not him that left the military, it's him being around all the other people is what made him want to leave. So yeah, no matter what you do, you're going to end up with a shit ton of people. Even if you get to a certain level and you're, if you're on a ship, you're pretty much surrounded by a shit ton of people. In a berthing, if you're enlisted, you have at least 75 people in that room that you sleep in, that compartment that you sleep in. And if you're on shore, you at least have a roommate. And so, over time, and most of the guys, they go straight to the ship, depending on what job that they've got. Very few people ever sleep alone, ever. So it's damn. And in boot camp, you're definitely with a whole bunch of people. So how he got through boot camp was, he should be mentioning that. I don't know how you got through boot camp. It was something he could control at that time, but maybe one or two people maybe would get the nightmare because he wouldn't absorb so much. It just depends. It depends on how it goes. But try not to think too hard about that. So let's go ahead and get to, so this is where he'll move into talking about what's going on currently, and got him being the ladies' man, and it always ends up the same way. I gotta figure out what to put in this box here, and maybe even change it up a little bit, because I want him to be contrite. I want him to feel bad about what he's doing, but also I don't know. I just want him to feel like he had it made, by using these ladies to exorcise the demons that were inside of him, or take on the nightmares for him. It's a dick thing to do, but somebody's got to do it. And then I wanted to throw at least one text box in here where he's talking about, I never experienced any of this. It was always in my head. I don't want him to even say that, but for them, it's real. For him, he's thinking that maybe they're just getting a little bit of nightmare, like how he gets it. But no, these ladies are getting it for real. It's like the stream had changed. From when he works in this company, he's bringing home a lot of baggage, and he mentions it here. And I need to fix this finger. It's driving me batshit crazy, and I need to fix it like now. Let me go ahead and do that right here. This finger right here, I'm missing a finger. I took his little finger here, and I need to add at least something, because it looks like he's he looks like he's missing something. I got a knuckle and everything here. So let's see if we can fix that right now. I'm going to sample the color that's here. Make sure I got a good soft brush. And then I'm just going to kind of close in on this. Let me turn off some of these layers here. There we go. Just want to kind of bring it in a bit. Use a little bit of black. Kind of control where the color is going. I just want to add, because it looks like his finger has been squished or something, or he doesn't have one at all. This one's still okay to be where it is. Okay, so now I'm just going to fill this in with some of these tones, and I'm also going to use a little bit of this texture here. Let's go ahead and do that right now. These textures are found in touch-ups, and I added a few of my own, but they're not as good. Let's see, like there's rough skin and old skin. And I wanted it to kind of show almost a transition from you know, humans to this monster. It's like, who are you serving? Just bring a little bit of that tone in there. And a lot of this is going to be covered up by the text box anyway. Then that's intentional. Let's go ahead and throw a little bit of that in there. And then we'll throw a little bit of the dark. There we go. Just needed a little something on the bottom to take up some of that slack. Okay. And just use a little bit of this. And I'm just going to smudge it a bit. Alright. And then try to smudge a little bit of this so it doesn't look like really bad lining. Nobody's going to be looking this close. Famous last words, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and turn our layers back on. Much better. I don't feel as intimidated by this anymore. Okay. Looks like a paw. Okay, so, and this right here looks like paunchy, like somebody's fat. But I wanted everything on the right side to be our guy, and then everything on the left to be the client. But with the paunchy guy here, I'm like, that does not look like our guy. And let me see if I can, I'm not even gonna mess with it. But yeah, so in the end, it's like, so you tell me, bro, who am I? Am I in trouble? So you tell me. Let me get rid of bro. I'm trying to make it sound casual and frustrated. So you tell me, am I in trouble? think I want this to kind of stagger. So, okay, let me see. Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to take this, duplicate it, so that on one of them, let's see, we'll have this one be the one on top, and we'll edit it. Okay. Alright, and then the one on the bottom. And we'll just do there we go. So I don't know if I'm trying to get it to feel sarcastic or what, but I definitely, okay. Now my one friend told me read it to myself aloud and see how it sounds. And I gotta make sure that people are reading it the right way. Usually it's the one on top is the one that is the one that you should be reading. But my inclination was to start with over here with a few hours sleep I could close 10 deals. You could imagine what I could do with 8 solid hours. But this is the one that I wanted to be first. I knew what I did to them, but how could I stop when every woman I fed to this thing netted me 6-figure deals? With a few hours sleep, I could close 10 deals. You couldn't imagine what I could do with 8 solid hours. My most lucrative clients have more baggage than an airport, and I take it all. And I take it in, all of it. And their sins are truly nasty. I should say heinous. Truly heinous. Their sins are heinous. We'll leave it at truly nasty for now. They changed the game. It's like it wants to feed on fear before it will dissipate. If there's no one there but me, it will let me know it's not happy. Oh. Okay, hold up. Let me cancel. This is, they changed the game. It's like it wants to feed on fear before it will dissipate. If there's no one there but me, it will let me now know. Okay, so I see, that's rough. Okay, they changed the game. What to do right here? Okay, they changed the game. It's like it wants to feed on fear before it will dissipate. If there's no one there but me, it will let me know it's not happy. So I need to, it will let me know. Okay, so now I got to get rid of the now let me. Let's see if I can do this without monkeying stuff up. Let's see, one of the other things I had is like, let me see what sounds better. It will now let me know it's not happy. Or it will let me know it's not happy. It will now let me know it's not happy. Okay, let's try this. We'll color it in. this way. We'll just kind of smudge it. I want to say it will let me know. We'll change that to black. Okay, let's see what we got. It will let me know. Now this one right here, this text box right here, and the shit they leave behind, my God, I can't deal with. But the monster wants more before it'll go away. This last stream, my girl left and it got to me. And well, that's why I'm here. But who am I doing all this for, really? So, you tell me, am I in trouble? So I want it to look like it's got a grip on his hand. I mean, he's profiting from it, but, you know, is the money worth it, type of thing. And I think I'll have his friend ask him that. Is it really worth it? You know, and, let's see, I want to fix this hand here, too. That looks like doo-doo. Let's see if we can fix that real quick. Let's see, it's on this layer. And I'm going to use a little bit of the texture in the touch-ups, and we'll use old skin. I don't want it to look like a monster. I want it to look moderately human. And it's a little distorted. I came up with this kind of layout by accident. It's like I had been doing some text work and stuff like that on the hands and adding texture and stuff like that, and it had changed position. Maybe I might have bumped it or something like that, and it just changed orientation. And I'm like, huh, this is kind of interesting to look at. It's not just straight up and down, you know, so I figure let's change it up a bit. So that's how I got this kind of perspective. Let's see, take down the scaliness a little bit. Let's see. We'll use the old skin again, but we'll keep it small. And we'll use a bit of gray for him. And if you're as bad as outlining, hey Tatted Hearts, if you're as bad as at outlining as I am, one of the things that I do to kind of compensate is I go ahead and create the outline with the soft brush using this one right here. It's also in the airbrush as well, but I like using that soft brush. And then just kind of go around the line, like the inside of the line. Just go around it and maybe make it just a little bit bigger so you have a fat edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up blending from the line inwards. So it not only will close up my spaces, but it'll also give it a little bit of dimension. Just a little. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit, and then I'm going to tease the color into the rest of the tone. And then I'll just tease it a little bit so it gives it a little bit more shape. So I'm like softening up my lines. And just kind of tease it in. And where two edges meet, there's going to be either a shadow or a highlight. And so whoever's on top is going to get the highlight, and whoever's on the bottom is going to get the shadow. So in this case, the thumb is on top, so the hand beneath it is going to get a bit of the shadow. And then if I need to, if I'm really close up to it, I can also throw in some texture. Let's see, it's in touch-ups. We'll use the old skin and I'll just up it just a little bit. And either I'll put it on another layer or I'll put it right on top of this. Now you might not see it since you've already got the dark tone on here, but if you use a light touch and you're very, you can have like a subtle change in tone. If it looks all smudgy when you do that, go ahead and switch to white or a lighter tone, and it'll also bring out that tone. See, right now it's kind of subtle, so you got the light white on here. And then I'm going to go back with the dark, and I'm going to just go over that white that I just put on here. Just kind of tap it, and then you can get that texture into the skin, and just kind of lean it in to the rest of the tone here. And I'm just tapping. And tapping and shading, and there we go. It doesn't look as bad. And I'm gonna do the same thing here since it's underneath. Whoops, Watch out for those strays there. Since it's underneath, it's going to get a little bit more shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and keep my texture on there. But people are really looking at the text and not the artwork as much. It's like, yep, register. Art, it's a handshake. Nice suit, CNR. Okay, so like I've got rough lines here. I'm going to go ahead and I can still keep the texture, or I'm going to switch to, in this case, the soft brush. I'm going to bring it down a bit, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do this sort of thing, and I'll let that roughness be my shadows. So I'm just going to tease that out. So I make like a nice line on here, and then I'll just kind of tease it out a bit. I'll do the same thing with the fingers here. Make a bit of a line. And then kind of bring out some of the tones and bring it into the finger itself. Sometimes I just use the smudge tool and the soft brush, and I'll if I have rough lines, I'll just go and soften them up, and then I soften them inwards to the shape instead of outwards to the shape. If you do it outwards, you get like more of a fuzzy look. But if you do it inwards, it's still a little fuzzy, but it's only fuzzy really on the inside. And then you can come back around and give it more of a crisp outline if you feel so inclined. And then if you're doing it on the outside, since this hand is kind of catching, it's kind of overlapping, you have to figure out where the light is hitting. If it's coming from an angle like this direction, I'll want to go ahead and have the light, have some shadows. Let's see, we'll have a little bit of a shadow here, and then we'll have it on the other side here. We'll have the highlight kind of hit the curve here. So I'll take my soft brush and I'll just kind of make it a little darker right here and kind of soften the shadow here. And then the fingers are close together. Which one's casting the shadow? You got to figure out who's casting the shadow, and they're the ones that's going to get the shadow on the side. Just kind of flatten it a bit and give it like a hint of a fingernail. And just follow the contour here. So I'm assuming that the light is coming down like this. So I've got a bit of shadow here. Let me get rid of that arrow real quick. So everything here is going to be curving away from the light. So I make like a little crest where it's at its darkest. And then from there, I'm going to shade downwards, but not, it's like this will be light but not white. Like the lightest part should be up here. So wherever the light's hitting it the hardest, I can go ahead and give it a nice white patch or a lighter patch. And everything opposite this light will get the shadow. It also helps if you have like a source image too. And that also can help solidify that. So like if I want to, I can come back in and fix these lines. Now this hand is distorted when it was straight, and it's fine that it's distorted, particularly because it's a memory, and you know, sometimes things get twisted, but also it also shows that things aren't quite right. Things aren't quite right. This day, Mark. So we'll go ahead and we can even throw a little bit of a cast, I forget what it's called, if it's called cast light, but it's a reflective light. So we'll have like maybe a little bit of a reflective light bouncing off of the sides of the fingers. Just a little, and it just gives also another bit of dimension too. Just keep it kind of subtle because it's not catching the light completely. Just a reflection. Okay. And you can do that throughout and stuff. Again, if your lines kind of suck, like mine, it also feels like, what's it called, motion. Like you didn't, you know, if they're a little rough, it feels like it's in motion. It's not just a solid, straight thing. The fuzziness kind of gives it that look of a blur motion. If you got the steady hand, yeah, you can outline it in one stroke. But not too slow, because this program will give you a crazy line. Okay, I'm not going to spend all day messing with this. I'm just going to tease out a little bit of using the soft brush, just trying to tease out. If I have a thick line, I'll tease it inwards. I'm just working it in a little bit, and then I'll clean up some of the edges. There we go. Lovely. Okay. And then I can always match the color tone of whatever I'm doing. So if that's the tone that I've got overall, instead of going black and then trying to fuzz it up together, I just go ahead and sample that tone and just use it. So I got that. And now like another way to make it look like it's heavy or have depth is that you have darker lines on the bottom and lighter lines on the top, which means that the light on top is catching the hand, like this thumb right here is catching a lot of the light, this thumb right here, and then this right here is catching the dark. So you can use line color as to your advantage as well. Like you'll see some artists, they will take and they will have the outline of the body be black, but the interior would be in color. With the lines would be in color. So, you know, you could play with color the way you, whatever you want to do. Let's see. So if I wanted to throw more oomph into this, I'd make these fingers here darker because it's away from the light. Plus we've got some fun things happening to the fingers here. We've got a little bit of drool coming down, a little bit of slime. So to make the slime kind of pop out a little bit more, throw in a few more shadows. And just kind of give it a curve here. And you could even go darker, go black with it. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit, and I'm gonna give it more of a shadow. Just get right up on the edge of that slime. And just kind of give a little bit more shadow. Another way of doing that, let me get out of this, create another layer, if it'll let me. Yep. And then this one here, I'm going to sample, oops, use the freehand tool, and I'm going to go ahead and select, hit add, select like a little cusp, hit add. Let's see, we've got a little bit more slime here. We'll hit add, and then just here we'll throw a shadow. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that with black. Let's see, we'll use my brush here. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a linear burn, and then I'm going to drop the opacity, and it just gives it that extra shadow. We'll drop it to about 15. So that really just kind of makes that slime come out a little bit more. It gives that slime its own shadow. And on that layer, I can keep the shadows hard, or I can kind of soften them up a bit. So I'm going to soften them up a little bit, because that's what I do, just a little. And you can keep a little bit of that hard edge. Just want to soften it just a bit. And there we go. Looks a lot better. Okay. So am I in trouble? Hell yeah, you in trouble, bro, because it's only gonna get worse from here. Okay, so here we go. Alright. Okay, so let's start putting some clothes on our fellows here. Okay, so one of the things that I found to make things a lot easier is I'm going to give these guys a base tone. And it's changed my artwork a lot as far as getting through the coloring process, or the toning process, pretty quickly. So what I do is I do a quick outline. Plus it'll also help me see it a little bit better. And if you're doing black and white, but you still need to have that shades of gray, the different hues of gray. One thing that I like doing is go ahead and use color for a sec. Drop that color in there. Make sure I'm on the right layer. I am not. Let me get out of it. Let's see. Unless it just needs to come ahead. So this used to be up here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you want to do it on a layer beneath it. Otherwise, it might obscure your black lines, or it might work just fine. But in the beginning, I like to have it on a different layer, and then I'll merge the layers together, especially when I'm blending tones. So I have him in this tone right here, and then I'm going to go to hue and saturation, and I'm going to desaturate it. So now I've got that skin tone, but in a gray tone. And if you want to still kind of keep that skin tone, you can always, desaturate it or saturate it just a little bit, so you still kind of have that peachy gray going on. Now I think for his skin tone, I think I want it a little lighter. So instead of it being that tone, I'm going to bring it more into the white. There we go. So, and then for him, his is going to be even lighter, because I'm trying to do more of a darker tone for my Asian guy, and a lighter skin tone for the white guy here. It's like, why you gotta be all like that? Okay, well, just to give them their differences. I'm not going to use pure white. I'm going to be in the grays, but it's going to be in the super light grays. Let's see. And he needs to be above too. There we go. And I'm just going to desaturate it. And I should have two different types of grays here. Let's see, I think I'll make this a little lighter. I really want a difference. Or I can go back to where I was. Come on now. Gallery. And just sample what I have for these guys. So I'll take their midtones here, and maybe about, let's see, we'll say about right here. We'll use that one, and then I can just add that to my, or I just have it in my history. Let's see, there's that one, and we'll use about right there. So both of those will be in my history. I'll just go back to my gallery, the Galleria, and then drop that in for him. Hit that one more time, and then drop that in for him. Or, let's see, he seems a little bit darker. We'll use that one. There we go. So we'll just keep these two tones for them on this page. And a smart person would go ahead and make a sample, or make their own little palette for these guys, or a darker, black and white palette, which is not a bad idea. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so palettes. Let's see. We'll add one. We'll call it, what is this? Okay, so we'll do it that. We'll make that our default palette. Okay, so when we come back to it, come to this, and this is our palette so far. So in order to save that, you know what, I think what I want to do is I want to go back to what we've got here, and I'm going to use him as the palette here. So let's see, we'll start off with, let's see, what is our darkest tone? We'll have like this be a tone. Let's see if it'll let me do it this way. You just put that there. Alright. And then we want another tone that'll be our whitest tone. Come back here, set that here. There we go. Let's see. We'll have see if we can find a mid-tone, something in between the two. Or let's see, we get a little darker. Just hold that down. Set. Let's see, we'll get his forehead. And usually I just do in between all that stuff too. You can also use your finger and just hold where you want to sample it from. We'll do his forehead here. There we go. So we got some good tones here. And let's see if we can do a black. Okay, and then here, now some of them, they will share the same tones, because it is still black and gray and black and white, and let's see, I don't see too much of a difference. Let's see. And his darkest tone, we'll have that be about his darkest tone. So Bryce will be on this second layer here. It does look like I use a little bit of this pink in here for him. Let me see. There we go. And if you want to get rid of a tone, I think all you have to do is like hold it and then drag it off. Or hold it and delete. Okay. And we got black. Let's see, is there any shade of gray that we do not have? Not much change into that. And then a lot of this is like white covers over it and it changes the tone too. Okay. And these two tones, if I decide to keep them, let me see. It just helps to see who's talking, who's saying what. And it's really subtle. It's not like it like pops out at you. God, dandruff, what is that streak? Let me see. And there's no getting rid of it. There's no going back. I don't know what that is. I've covered up a little bit of that glass. Okay, let's see. We'll use black. Need shiny. This is my all-time favorite brush. I love what it does. I'll cover up some of that. There we go. keep the glass there. And we'll even extend to the end here. Yeah, we'll cover up some of that part. Alright, good enough for government work. Alright, so rectangle it, clean up this edge just a smidge. Alright, so that's adding those tones. We've got our own palette. Let's play. Let's see, I'm going to take the color out of this one. Saturation. Booyah, gone. And up here, saturation. Gone. But I think I want these tones to match. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to sample this one. Hop back up on this guy and just drop it on in. Ooh, bada boom, bada bing. It's right. I think this is the one. No. I'll figure out what layer I did here. Patooey. Okay, so this layer. Right here. There we go. Alright. And then we'll just do the same thing on here. And I'll use this one as my color layer. I'll just go ahead and merge these. Actually, not yet. Okay, so I got that. Just in case I move the heads, change back to freehand. Okay, so his face needs to come up above this one. There we go. And we're cool with that. And then we just need to do Derek's face. Let's go ahead and sample. That. Now this one here I brought from a different screen, but it didn't, when I was drawing this one, it didn't have the same tones, I don't believe. I don't think I filled this one. Can't remember, but we're gonna, to be consistent, we're gonna go ahead and do that. Now the cool thing about Procreate is that it will leave things that are already colored. It won't recolor them. Famous last words, right? Let's see. Okay, we're on this image. Let me go ahead and select it. Yeah, it's not going to recolor it. Let's see, maybe let me do it myself. Favorite soft brush. And we'll just kind of drop it a little bit. Okay, I just gave it like a bit of a tone. Take the white down a little bit. Okay, anyway, I'll come back over it. And I think I'll do the other one too. I think I got a head in every spot. Yeah, it saves you a lot of time if you can recycle your faces. I don't like this face. I want him to look more at him. This one's okay, but this one I definitely want more of a turn. Yeah, we'll play with it. Anyway, we're working on Derek. Alright, this one here. We'll throw a tone underneath. We'll put the tones down here. Now, I don't like sampling or recycling the hair because, you know, they may be doing something completely different. Whoops. Try it again. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be. Alrighty, and then back to Bryce. And just to be consistent, we'll just sample it right off the bat. Now, one of the things that I had a hard time with was remembering my characters' names, so the more that I talk about them and use their name, the more I remember them. A lot of my characters, I had, make sure it's on the right layer, used a random generator in order to name them, so that was also another reason why I couldn't remember his damn name. There we go. Booyah. Okay. Now I found that if I color everything at the same time, I can get the same or similar results. When I color things at different times, they're complete. Sometimes the artwork is completely different. Like this is completely different from what I had done like earlier. Where is it? Like right here. This is like page 1 or page 3. Almost completely different. Almost. Still cute. Yeah, you know, I also found that if I kind of have the hots for my characters, it's like, yeah, he's hot. I'm more inclined to want to draw them and color them and stay with them. Weirdo that I am, that is what it is. Okay, so, now I've also found that I like drawing from real life and I like drawing from real life actors and then changing them up. And the downside to doing that is that if you were searching online for images of your favorite actor to get their likeness and stuff, you're bound, and if they're a really good actor and actress, very prolific, they will have from the time that they're a kid to like present day when they're an old fucker. And well, I have to put it like that, Kim. They'll have changed a bit, and so it might be good to come up with, because what I've been doing was covering up with a character palette as I'm drawing. So like I'll be drawing them and then I'll save their faces. So I have like little areas where I'll save a face or two, and just kind of reuse that. And then also I'll like store their faces in different places. That way, like on Google Drives and stuff like that, in order to what is this called? Slides, like where you could put the images, like a slideshow. I would also use that. Okay. The only thing is that sometimes it's not a very stable program. Okay. And you're not always guaranteed to find, before I do all that, let me put the text in here. Let's see. Actually, I'll put the text in last because these thought balloons and stuff get in the way. They're not supposed to get in the way, but they get in the way. Alright, so we're going to color everything on the one layer right here for now. And then eventually I'll merge layers and stuff like that. Actually, I could probably get away with merging it now to save myself some space. I think I'll do that. Because I'm going to end up softening up things as well. Let me merge this down. There we go. So everybody will be colored on the same layer here. And then I'll just select it and move it if I have to. Alright, so for his face, I'm going to start off with, see, we've already got that gray tone here. Let's go ahead and throw some highlights in for the moment. I'll keep it down here in this area so I can control the brush a little bit. And then bring this down to his layer, his level. Now, if you're not relying on source images for your characters, see if you can get like a whole character sheet of them, and then you can recycle your images as you go. That way you can stay consistent. Or if you have to have somebody draw for you, you know, keep at least the faces. Because, you know, the clothes may change. Let's see. And it can't hurt to have like a swatch of whatever textures that you're going to be using in that particular chapter. Like, I went from the bedroom scene to the bar scene. And yeah, it would have been helpful to have like different, you know, a listing of what everything is. Since I created these textures on the fly, you know, and I'm doing these, there's so many of these that I'm doing, it wasn't hard to remember. But with the bedroom one, I swear to God, I used like a different texture for each frickin' one. Let's see, I think what I'll do is I'll lay down the tones first, and then I'll come back with the texture brushes. Let me see, if I do, let's see, I'll use, I want to play with this one here, porous. Let's see, I saw a video on creating your own textures. Let me see, edit the grain source. Let's see, we come back here, and the guy did something. He was able to change it from a different color. I'm gonna have to watch it again. Like, he was able to invert this from this tone to the other tone, and that might be what I need. Let's see. I don't see anything with the scale. Let's see. Oops. Okay. I was hoping that would let me try it. Let's see. Shape. Is it in rendering? I'm gonna have to watch it again. Okay, no worries. Alright, we'll play with it from here. And what it is this right here, I wanted to make it look like skin pores. But it's not doing what I want it to do. Let's see, how about... And I even tried looking at this brush. Trying to figure out what they did differently. Okay, so I think all the white is where the color is coming into. So like if I change the color to something else, it would be in that tone. Anyway, let me go back. Let me try something real quick. Let me look at my grain. So I have more of this gray tone. I wonder, let's see, color dynamics, no saturation. I'm gonna have to play with these a little bit later. Okay, anyway. But when I do it, let's see, we'll use black. Let's see what we get. And that's, let's see, I wanted a darker tone. This one works a lot better as a smudge brush than it does as a outright texture. So I'll set that one to smudge. At least that's what I've noticed. It gives it a little bit, it softens up stuff. Under touch-ups, I want to use my porous facial skin. And then for the brush itself, I want to use the old skin. Either that one or the rough skin. Let's see. So it gives it like this texture in the shadows here. And if I bring it down smaller, it gives it like a smaller grain. And then I'll come back with this with the smudge tool and just kind of soften it. If I bring it down really low, I could keep some of the texture. If I want to get rid of the texture, it's like a softer smudge. I'm going to bring it up a little bit more, and it kind of smudges it into the texture of the porous brush. So you've got two different textures going on at the same time. Instead of it just being a soft brush, it's actually got a little bit of texture to it. Okay, so I'll use that. And I just got to remember to use it for everybody. Yeah, so there's upsides and downsides to using a source image. You're limited to whatever, if you're using like the contours and everything like that, you're limited to their light source. So like if this person was like outside, you'll have outside type of things happening to their skin. If they're indoors and maybe in a shade, you have the same, type of thing that you have to deal with. Whereas if you were just creating it yourself, you can set what you want your character to, the conditions that you want your character to be under. And yeah, for my next comic, I'm going to do that. I'm going to set up my own character sheets, quick drawing sheets and stuff like that. Give them some expressions like they're happy, sad, whatever. Get used to drawing them. Because with these guys, since I'm using one particular actor, I wanted to try to get his look. I wanted to get his kind of like expressions, things that you would see him doing. So it'd be like, oh yeah. That definitely looks like the dude. But the only thing is my actors also did some modeling and stuff. If you are, like, say you're doing Mariah Carey only wants to be photographed from one area, one angle. Weirdo. Nah. That's a diva for you. So you're going to have the majority of the pictures of her will only be at one angle. So you'll have to like watch videos of them, and maybe if you're lucky get a screen capture of your person in a different angle, different lighting, different expressions. Because if I'm looking for like expressions of fear, I ain't finding them. I might find a little bit of shock. And that's one of the things I like about this actor, is that he's not emotive. He doesn't throw a lot of emotions out at you. He's really subtle. And for someone that you're trying to help, tell your story, and you rely on source images, that might change, especially if they have different hairstyles in almost every picture. You're using them from one movie, like say you're using them from one movie, and that movie is, I don't know, it's just it's really hard to use one, well, anyway. So it's easier to you could style it after them, like a caricature of them, but ultimately you're going to have to deviate. So like this particular image, I could not find my model actor, to be, shocked. And then I couldn't find him laughing his ass off. Very, what is it called? Reserved, shy smile type of thing. So I had to improvise. I had to kind of guesstimate on what his face would look like if he was laughing his ass off. Use a little bit of this gray here. Use a little bit of this black. And we'll bring this up some for his pupils. I can't remember, did I switch brushes? Yes, I did. I didn't realize I had switched brushes. It's almost like subconscious. I'm like, I didn't remember this brush being this cool. So there'll be times when you'll look at one of my guys and he looks one way, or like much older or much younger. So it just depends on when it was taken. But I kind of have an idea that I want him to be in his late 20s. Late 20s, early 30s. Just enough so that, well, you know, to be in that demographic that I want him in. Okay, so in touch-ups, I need the stubble. Oh, and also, if you're doing a comic, do not rely simply on, or this is just my advice, do not rely simply on Procreate's brushes as far as, you know, the textures. There's not, you'll see that there's not very many that will correspond with your needs. Like the stubble brush is cool. The hairbrush is amazing. I use it for everybody and virtually everything. But what I'm talking about is like when you get ready to do their clothes. So like, let's see, I need the other brush. Soft brush, okay. So like when I'm doing, let's see, I'm going to need to use his hand up here, but first let me do this. Put his jacket on him. Let's see, his hand is going to be right here. And he's got the ID in his hand. Just hurry up and put this here. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to use the layer that has that on there. Okay. Oops. It's not helping. Okay. Maybe try erasing these guys. And let that be my rough layer here. Usually I like to have a source image for when I'm doing the hands. That way I stay accurate. It's like, hands don't bend like that, Kim. Let me see if I can find a hand that looks like it's worth a damn. That's another thing I like collecting. I like collecting pictures of hands, hands gripping. So find that layer. Let's see. I'm going to try using my own hand here. Flip it around. Okay. I'll bring this down some. I think that finger's a little big. There we go. Bring it in some. And I'll do my thing with the, oh yeah, that's right, gotta use the select this. So whatever you do, don't shy away from like of things that you're not really good at. Look at me, famous last words. There's a shit ton of things I'm not really good at. Like hands, because it's really going to be painfully obvious if there's no hand in the picture ever. So, oops, am I on the wrong layer? No, I'm on the right layer. Let me just use this. There we go. Okay. So instead of shying away from it, try using source images. Instead of, you know, I can't draw hands. Well, then find a hand and then try to emulate it. My biggest thing right now is I really can't do buildings. Yeah, I can't do hands, but, you know, I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm going to find, if my hands look too wonky, I'm going to go ahead and get a source image. And then just try to keep in mind the perspective, you know, and the lighting, if I can. I know this is going to be like some top-down lighting and like edge lighting. Put these little fingernails in there. And we'll use a little bit of a texture brush, touch-ups. We'll use old skin. Yeah, and if you're not good at something, definitely do some research. Jim Lee has a really good tutorial on hands, you know, comic book fingers. You know, there's if you do a search on hands in online, you can find a lot of hands. I was just too lazy to do it today because I'm winging it. Okay, let's see, and then I'll just kind of smooth everybody out. Let me go ahead and get rid of this layer of crap. Let's see, I'm on that layer. I'm just going to get rid of any extra lines so I don't get confused. There we go. Okay, so for this one here, we'll see if I can draw with the texture brush. I can't. Oh, helps to be on the right layer. Zoom. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, so if that's the pointer finger, I'm kind of using my finger right now as reference. Let's see. You know what? I think I'm doing the wrong hand. I am. No wonder it looks wonky. Immature. Okay, let's see if I can. Oops. Something's happening here. I think it was just telling me my battery life is dying. Oh, good. It's good. It's good. Okay. Alright. Let's go back. Alright. I'm going to switch it to my favorite brush. Okay. Bring it down. Okay, so if I'm pointing with that finger, the littler fingers will be here. right. Good enough for government work. Let's go ahead and select. Probably need to up my, yeah, I need to up my fill. Okay. Even if your hands look like Edward Scissorhands, don't shy away. Gotta get that shit done. Gotta get her done. And use source images. It will save you time. I've spent like too long on this. And I'll probably just come back with some source image. Okay, so in the meantime, yeah, there's nothing like having to draw things that you don't want to draw. That will definitely make you want to say, I don't think I want to do this. Whenever you come across, well, what seems to work for me is I try to find another way of skinning the cat. If I've come across something that I don't want to draw, and it's unavoidable, I'm going to have to draw it. I try to find another way of drawing it to where it appeals to me. If and I know I'm going to have to do this soon, I'm going to have to start drawing some vehicles. So what I want to do is change the vehicle up to where it's appealing to me. That it's appealing to my time to draw it. So like either I'll make it look badass, or I'll find a way that I can, kind of keep interest in it. Like I've got to draw this bar. So what I'm going to do is, in order for me to maintain my interest in drawing this bar, I'm going to probably find some source images that are bar-like and unconventional. So like I'll try to take into account what the theme of this bar is, but I'm not going to spend an entire day on it, because it's just something that's fleeting. Let's see. It'll only be in a couple panels. So, but the idea of this bar being like a big pool table is pretty awesome to me. Let's see, let me change this brush. Okay, so another thing I was mentioning was that you don't want to keep the same brushes. You'll run out of brushes. So like you'll have a brush for your floor, you know, the Procreate brushes, you'll run out. So what I ended up doing is I learned how to create my own, and I'm trying to find the brush that I'm using for his shirt. It was Ornate, I think. Here we go. I think it was this guy right here. Same thing with wood, different textures for different items. You're going to run out of brushes from Procreate to fulfill your needs. And it's really super easy to create a brush, and I'll show you how to create one on the fly. You can either build one up yourself, and I always wanted to try doing the hairbrush. I just wish there was a way to do it where you could do it like inside the brush tool. And like if you want to create a brush library, like within here, let's see, like, so this is in touch-ups where the hair brushes are, and you've got like the fine hair brush. You just kind of look at what the grain is, and it's just a bunch of dots, and it gets you, and it's just dots everywhere. If you can remember the dynamics of how they do it, like it's a moving brush. Here's the scale, zoom is cropped. I wonder, it's black, the black and then the white I think is what makes it inverts, so like the white is going to end up being your color. So like if I stamped, you would get the same texture as that, but when you're doing the brush, it's that. I wonder, let me try something. Let me go done. I'll play with it later. I was thinking about creating a brush like I saw this one guy do. He had, let me go to gallery, and let me see, I want to take an image and save it. So let's see, we'll do a square, let's see, something small, small. How about 3 by 3? We'll do 1 by 1. Okay, so new canvas. We'll do it in inches, 1 by 1. Okay, and then create, and then we'll fill this with black, and yeah, when you make a brush, it's black is invisible and white is what's going to show up. And let me see, do I have a brush that is with dots? It was luminance. Let me try one of these lights. Let's see. Just give me a dot. No, these are random. Let's do this. We'll use soft brush, and we'll just do dot, dot. Let's see, we'll do it on another layer. Let me see, let me back this up. You know, there was one brush, it came out in the circle. Let's see, not streamlined, spacing, there it is. Okay, let me try that. That might be too long. We'll see what it does. So we'll save it. Well, let's do this. Sweet. And then we'll do this. We'll use the soft brush. And we'll just kind of soften the edges here. Okay, and then we'll save it. Or actually, all I should have to do is copy it. Okay, so select, copy. Let's see, let's create a brush. Let's see, we'll put it in touch-ups. And we'll call this the new hairbrush. Oh, let me see. Not that one. Let's see, touch-ups. We'll take the fine hairbrush. There's supposed to be a way to duplicate it. Hold up. Let me see, done. See, I want to duplicate it. Okay, so there's the fine hairbrush, and then we'll use this one, and then we'll change the grain. We'll go done, and it should keep the same stuff as the other brush. Look at that. So it gives you that sort of thing. Now let me try something else. Edit, auto repeat, and then go done and see what it does. It doesn't look like it did too much. Let's see if we change the stroke. It just makes it lighter. Oh, and it's using that shape. Huh. That's interesting. Let's try something. Let's try a different one. Edit. Import. Source library. Let's see what soft does for us. Okay, done. And that's what the soft brush does. It gives us a line. It gives us that hard line in there in between. Let me see. Let me edit it to a different one. Import source library. Let's try flat marker. I know, see. Interesting. Different. Now I wonder. Let me see. Okay, see, this is why I am not getting shit done. I'm messing around with stuff. Okay, so let me get out of that. I'll play with that again. Yes, we'll delete that. Okay, back to work. Stop playing. Play on your own time, Kim. Time is money. Money is time. Oh. Okay, back to work. See, Kim, this is why you're not getting shit done. Okay, so let's give a texture to the wallet here. Instead of doing all that, let's put it beneath. Okay, let's see, and let us use, we got textures. This is random stone, I created that. Tan weave. Black and silver is pretty cool. Let's try tan weave. Just got it as big as it'll go. Can't see it. Yeah, not the weave. Let's see. Let's try something that looks like it could be a leathery texture. Oh, let's use one of the skins. Okay, so like all the textures that come with this program, you know, the really interesting textures here, they're all right here. Like, you only have one wood texture. You're on your own for anything else. It's a nice wood texture. And Victorian here, used a lot. This is the most ornate texture that's here, and I've seen it in 3 different places, including my own. So you want to create your own. And it's really super easy. Let's see, what time is it? We got time. I want to find a leathery texture. So what I do is I have, let me see if I can create another one. Characters. Let me get up here. I'm going to start oh, I have one that's all textures. Give me a second. I'll open it up. Let's see if there it is. Okay, so if you have Google Docs, this thing is this is one of your best friends besides Pinterest. I think this is even a better friend than Pinterest. Because Pinterest, you can't like cut and paste. Okay, so here's my Google Docs textures. It's got some sort of weird error message that pops up. So if you click in here, I've noticed that it will get rid of that error. Okay, so I've collected throughout the internet different textures that I'm thinking about bringing into my Procreate. And the best ones are the ones that don't have the watermarks, that are actually free. Let's see, something that would look good for... Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this snake texture and I'm going to bring that on into Procreate. And how I do that, I'm going to move that over and I'm going to open it up in on my iPad. Let's see, I don't have it opened. Okay, there's my slides. Go back. Come on, go back. Textures. All right, and I'm on this one right here. So I'm going to grab that and copy it. Copy. This thing isn't charging. Alright. Come back into Procreate. Go to brushes. Go to textures. You want to figure out whatever brush that you want to use in your library. Go to textures. Go to new brush. That's the little plus sign up at the top there. let's see, we'll give it a name. We'll call it Snake Skin. Come to about this brush. Call it Snake. Snakes on an M&F plane. Snake Skin. What? Just in case I come up with a Snake Skin too. We'll throw whatever on here. I don't care. Alright, so we'll go to grain. And whatever you have, it's going to switch it to black and white automatically for you. So go to edit at the top here. Come on, edit, import, and then you want to go to paste because we just copied it. And one of the things I like doing is going to auto repeat, and it shows you what the pattern's going to look like. You can alter the pattern, you can make the scale bigger, you can mask the edges, and you can even overlap the image so that it gives it its own little mirror image. You can rotate it, so if you want your patterns to go at an angle, they can do that. And it also have this other little pattern that's on here too. But I like to have something that's kind of seamless. And then I go to done. It creates my texture. And if there was any watermarks on there, you really can't see them that well. It looks like it's pretty subtle. Plus, whatever I'm using is going to be pretty small anyway. Let's see. So then I go to shape, and I want to change it from this hard shape to a softer shape. So I'm going to edit that. Import. Go to source library and soft, and then go to done. And then done again, done one more time, and then we've got our snake skin added to our brush library. It's already selected. We've already got our selection created, and I'm going to make this big, and then we've got a texture. It's just that easy. Okay, and I'm going to alter it a little bit by throwing like maybe a little bit of light on it, maybe a little darker on the bottom. And another thing that's cool is if you take your soft airbrush, you can do the same thing without adding more textures to it. Like say you just needed a little bit of highlight to it, you give it that, it will color what's there. I need like a little bit of shadow where his fingers are. So I'm going to bring that in under here, but I kind of want it over on the finger layer. Because they're also casting its own shadow. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to soften this up, bring this down a little bit, and then kind of do that. So that the finger has its own shadow. And it still looks like it's on top. Oh, we can deselect it now. We'll say cast a little bit more. Yeah, so it's like coloring without adding more texture. Okay, so we got that going on. Let's get to his hair. So hopefully that helped anybody. But yeah, definitely you want to have your own brushes. Because there's nothing like seeing the same brushes like in somebody else's work. It's icky. And you can tell that they're using the same program as you are. But yeah, but necessity dictates that you'll need more brushes. So like, you can't see it in this one, but I want to have the bar. Let's see. I'm going to put the bar right behind them. Let's see. So let me try this. I'm going to put that down here. And I'm going to use the soft brush for the moment. Whoops. Okay. And we'll have it about right here. Let's see. That looks moderately straight. And I think I'm still on that layer. So if I have it peeping in anywhere, okay. So I want to put it like a texture on the bar. So we'll have it come down just a little bit, maybe right. Oops, don't want it to erase. We'll bring this down some. Alright. And then we'll just erase what we don't need. I don't want it to show up there. Okay. And then, okay, so the textures that I've got, let me see if I've got if I picked up another wood grain. I probably didn't. Let's see. We'll bring this back over here. Okay, so I've already used this one. I don't need it anymore. This would have been a great one for the wallet right here. Either the gray one or the brown one would have been perfect. Now these are different wood grains. This one's got like white on it. I don't want that really. I'll probably just have to trim that. There's another wood grain right there. And when it comes over, it'll be in black and white. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. I'm going to copy that. I think I've already got it copied. We'll move, let me see. Do I have another one? Yeah, some images are way better than others. That is pretty. I think I want to put that on somebody, but I don't have anybody to put it on. Not yet. I'm wondering if I can make that work. I'd have to cut it. I have to cut it like in the center here. I want to try something. I'm going to take it, copy. Okay. Come back into Procreate. We'll move that out the way. We'll go to Gallery. We'll create another one. Let's see, do I have a 1x1 already? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to paste it. And then I'm just going to make it so that you can't see that. It's a little pixelated. Let's see. One trick I just learned today or yesterday was if you hold down the arrow key at the top here, you can, well, supposedly you're able to resize the canvas, but it didn't do it for me. Let me see. There it goes. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay. But it cut it, so cool. That's what I needed. And I think just to be weird, and you can always rotate your image. Okay, so we got that. All right. Deselect it. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Or actually, let's see. Well, let me invert it. Let's see, add, canvas, share. It was canvas, no, it was this one. Hue saturation, we'll drop the saturation. Let's see, I think it was curves. No, it wasn't curves. Color balance, no. Recolor, no. I gotta see. Next time I need to pay attention. But he swapped the color so that it was black was white and white was black. Let me see. Oh, was it under? No, it wasn't under the blur. Anyway, regardless, you don't have to save it. Just go ahead and copy it. Oops. Copy the layer. Go to brush. And then go to textures. I should create one that's just nothing but wood. So we got textures, got new brush. Go to, I'm not going to give it a name. I might even delete it. Let's see, grain, edit, import, paste, auto repeat. Let's see. So make the grain a little bit bigger. Got it to overlap a bit, and then we'll try to mask the edges. That doesn't suck too bad. Let's see if I bring the grain down a little bit. It still is going to give us like that square look, but that's okay. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, we'll go to done. And again, we'll change the shape from this hard brush to the softer brush. I'm sorry if this is going a lot faster, but it's pretty much, you want to give it a name in the about this brush. You can even put your name on it. You want to go to grain right here, and you want to paste your image on into there. People save it, but you don't have to save it. You just copy the layer, and then you put it in with the edit, and then once you edit it, you can auto repeat it. Once you're done monkeying with it, you just go to done, go to shape, and I usually give it the soft layer, the soft brush here, but you can do it whatever you want. Go to done, you got it to where you want it. Let's go to gallery, and back where we were. These are my heads and the character roughs. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and select using the rectangle tool. Not quite straight, but that's okay. This will make it straight. And I'll even make it a little bigger so it gets the rest of the bar here. And I think that caught it. And then I'm just going to use my brush. I'm going to take it off of black completely and maybe a shade of gray. Let's see what we get. And there's our texture. Alternate wood texture. If it's in color, it'd probably look a lot better. So like maybe a reddish texture. Oops, maybe a red-ish texture. Ooh, it looks like blood. I think I could use that texture on something else. So we don't need this. I think I'm going to change the grain to something weird. Let's see, we'll change the source shape. Oh, not paste. Source library. Edit shape source. And this is supposed to be like the shape of your brush, how your brush would do its thing. I'm going to go into source library, and I want something kind of splotchy like the ink. or because I want it to spew. Let's try ink sponge. Done. And I'll put that above. And I'm going to turn that into gray. And just kind of let him spew beer. And then we'll use also the water brush. And we'll use water flicks. Oops, too much. And we'll bring that down some. Alright, that'll work. What a waste of beer. Okay. Alright. And just for giggles, we'll put in what he's saying. Let's go ahead and do a lips. Oh, and I apologize, I'm not in the chat. Okay. No worries. Nobody else is either. Okay. Let's see. So, I want to be on another layer. And I'm going to create, oops, a mess. I'm going to create a thought balloon. And then I'll just go give it a color. I'll probably change it to the color where he's actually speaking in the other panels. And one thing I like doing is taking my balloons and putting it behind the character if I can. Let's see, I will put that down here. One more. Because I'm weird. And let's see, we'll change this back to black so I don't have to do that later. We'll add text. We'll take this, bring it down, edit style. We'll bring it down a little bit more. And then we'll change it to okay. And then I can make this bigger now. And I can bring this down a bit. There we go. Let's see. And then we'll make the balloon just a little smaller. Let's see. It'd be funny if I really did misspell his name. What a dick thing to do. And the guy really likes his badge. He earned this shit. Okay, so let's do the hair. Favorites, find hair. Yeah, and to save myself some time, I had moved my favorite brushes into my favorites. Let's see. Let me bring this down. Okay, so to stay on track, I have to finish 3 to 5 panels a day, so I can get through all 90 to 130 panels. Make sure that that's on fine hairbrush. I'm going to smudge this. Just to get it to look a little thicker. Okay. I'll say most of it comes this way. And that's just the minimum of panels. Now, he looks kind of cartoony. It could be the hands. I'm going to have to fix that. Okay, so let's do his hair. Let's see. Just hairbrush. Okay, soft brush. I'm not so worried about the beer steins because we'll put beer in there. I also created my own froth brush, and that is underwater. I made some bubbles, and some of these I made from this froth brush I made from an image of froth, and then the bubbles I made from like one circle and then repeated the circle in the pattern thingy, and then in the different brushes create the different patterns. So let me get the froth brush in there. Whoops, it helps to be white, so we'll make it white. But you gotta have like a color behind it or something like that. Either the color of the of the glass, or you know, and then just kind of alternate it between black and gray and white to get the bubbles in there. And then let's see, we'll throw a little bit of froth on the side here. Whoops. Okay, and then back to the hair. Well, let's see, maybe I can get to the dude. La, 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 la. Yep, so this is what I'll be working on tonight. You see, I've got 1 hour left. All right, let's see. But it's kind of funny. I thought that I was emulating a particular person, and Tatted Hearts totally saw someone completely freaking different, which was really cool. I'm like, good, now I won't get sued. You know, because I want to be my own casting agent here. You know, if I'm going to put people through hell, well, damn it, I want the best people. Channel my inner Trump. I want the best people. I have the best people. If I'm going to get sued, I'm going to get sued by the best people. Okay, so I'm just tossing on some highlights real quick. Let's see. And I'll probably add more after I do some shadows. Let's see, I'm going to use some of the lighter tones down here for him. Let's see, we'll use this one. And we'll make sure this is down a little bit. Now I bring this down because I can control it better. The more I tap, the darker it'll get. Let's see. And with grays, doing grays, you want to kind of still do those value tones. Is this darker than this? Is this darker than that? I love this hairbrush. It changed my religion. I mean, you can whip the hair out so damn fast with this brush. And then you can get that wispiness. God, I love this brush. Okay. It's like, why don't I marry it, right? So, I don't know, I just can't commit. There's so many brushes out there. There's so many brushes that need to be created. I can't commit to just one brush. But the cool thing about these brushes is that it goes with where you're going. So like if I want to make him like have curly, ooh, give him an afro. That would have been cool. I could give him an afro. You just make little swirls. Just swirl it around. Give him an afro puff. You know, it goes to wherever you need it to go. You want soft strokes. Long strokes. I like the short strokes when I need either to build up texture or to show like a highlight. Like there could be a highlight like right here in between this dark here and this light here. And then I can just add white or gray. And that helps build it up a little bit. This is great for fur. You'll never shy away from doing fur again. Now there's a fella I know who's using Procreate, and I need to catch up with him and show him some of these tricks, because his stuff is looking okay, but it's still rough, and he could benefit from some of this. So I think I might make a tutorial for him, or tell him to watch a video one of these days, or catch me on live, and I'll show him some things that he can add, because he's doing Batman, and I think he would do great if he used some of the leathery textures instead of just what he's doing right now. I wonder if I can create a brush that would make buildings or random people. I could probably do that. Make a car brush. You just create generic brushes of cars. Okay. Yeah, this is one of those things where I don't have a source image of this expression, so I had to create it off of other images. I don't think I'm on the right layer. Yeah, I'm on a totally different layer. Let's see, let me merge that down, because I wanted to bring in some of the tones that are already on his skin. Let's see. We'll keep him skinny. Let's see, I probably won't do too much more to the bar. We are only in a certain neck of the woods in the bar too. So I could probably add some taps or something like that from a real bar, and maybe some pennants or something like that. Irish pennants. want this to be lighter. And I'll make these darker. I need this smaller. I need this higher. So when I'm drawing on here, I don't want to erase. I'll either smudge things out. If I need to make something a little bit brighter, I can always put it on to a different layer, or just kind of layer it on top, and then blend them together so it's not like too jarring. Let me see if I can get even whiter. Let me see if I can get as white as the background here. Just to have a little bit more highlight. Put a little bit of dark into that. And bring this down. Okay, let me bring in my touch-up brushes here. We've got this porous skin for the smudging, and then we'll have this one with the we'll use old skin. Bring that up, bring this down so it's not, try to keep it subtle. There we go. I'm going to bring this down some. Crap, what time is it? 7 o'clock, okay. I got 30 minutes. See, I need to make this a little darker, and then beneath it, whenever you have two distinct planes, like the nose is sticking out, and then you've got the face on the other side of it, I'm trying to make this part lighter, and then this part a little darker, so that the nose really stands out. Bring that down just a bit. but I don't want the nose to be brighter than the shadow that the nose is casting. So I'll bring this up, bring this down, see if I can pinpoint this a little bit more. And then I'll kind of smudge it up because I don't want it to look like Hitler. Maybe I'll have a little bit of the highlight kind of creep in here. There we go. And then I'm going to smudge it up a little bit. Bring that down a bit. And nobody's going to get this close into my junk. Famous last words, right? But yeah, I was watching this video and it says in order to be faster with your artwork, don't zoom in, or don't zoom in as much. And I'm like, oh yo, dude, I need to zoom in. Look at this shit. It's like crap. Zoom, zoom, zoom. But my problem is I don't zoom out enough. So people look a little distorted, like I'm thinking, oh yeah, my stuff is the bomb. And then when I finally, you know, kind of catch a break and see it for what it is, it's like, oh dog, this does not make any sense. So I see what I was doing here, but yeah, Kim needs to zoom out a little bit more, and I need to be able to add more panels. The only thing is that we're in a time constraint, and I want to get things out. I want to get the following, because if I don't, having interactions with the Webtoons is 30% of you know, 30% of it, of the judging, and I don't have very much interaction. So I want to get this out as soon as possible and see if I can get at least a little bit of something. Make people nervous. Yeah, so no trolling for me. I mean, there's some that are like, I'll want to troll, whereas like or I'm trying to build myself up. It's like, oh, my stuff is in the bag, and then I look at their stuff and I go, they got their stuff out. You're still just looking. You know, you ain't shiznit if you don't have nothing out there. And I'm like, oh, dog, I don't want to let this opportunity pass. So I'm waking up at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning because I'm way too dog tired to stay up all damn night. There we go. All right. Now you can see the texture in his neck. We'll go ahead and bring that down. There we go. Okay. Yeah, before everybody was like super smooth, you know, and I'm like, I see where people put down the the airbrush. They're like, I never use the airbrush, like the airbrush snobs. I only use it like sparingly. You know, you'll come across some of those people on YouTube. It's like, I barely use that. I always use this one. It's like this ugly brush, and they like this painterly look more than, you know, they don't want to look like, they want to look like they were actually using paper without using paper. And I'm like, okay, cute. Yeah, using paper without using paper. Well, then use paper. But then I wouldn't have the same tools as I have not using paper. Plus we save a tree. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to use one of the brushes that I've created. Oops. Oops. Alright, we'll go into here, make this black, and go into textures. And I like this croc one too. Croc is badass. Shiny squares is badass. I haven't used this one yet, this untitled brush one. I don't know what to call it. The ornate ones look really good. Like, here's one that I like. That one looks, this would look badass on a tie. I think I'll put it on my guy. And then there's, and I created these. I created that one. Ornate. Oops. There we go. And then, I never tried this droplets one. Let me see. I'll try it in a bit. Let's see. Ooh, dragon. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I definitely got to put this on somebody. It's like little dragons. I forgot about that one. Let's see, and I got another one that's got bigger dragons. Now, this guy almost was going to be wearing this. Oh yeah, I gotta put this on my boy. Like when he goes to the club, picking up chicks. Okay, ostrich is what I was looking for. Ostrich looks weird. And if I would have had this for my monster texture sooner, I would have definitely used it. It looks like a plucked bird. See, I want everybody who is a little naughty to wear the animal print type of thing, animal leather. Okay, we'll bring this down. Okay, I've got a few minutes. Okay, and then he's wearing a white collar. We'll just kind of have it peep up a little bit. make a little bit of gray. Alright, I can't wait to start doing more monsters. It's coming. Alright. Okay, so let's finish doing this. Oh, that's too dark. Bring that down. Throw some I wonder if I should tilt the jars or the beer stein. Okay. Good enough for government work. Alright. I'll fix that paw later. Let's see. I think this needs to come. This layer. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. All right. He looks small, so I think what I'll do is textures. Shiny squares, and we'll just bring that down further. And then I'll just kind of cut it off. Let's see, I think I'll need this. See, the angle is moderately right. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's where I am right now. Give me one quick second. I gotta use the restroom. All right. Okay, sorry about that. Old bladder needs to be drained. Okay, so la 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 la. That may have been TMI. Let's see. Let's see. So I'm trying to think. What? Okay. Here we go. Must keep going. Must keep going. See, since we've been monkeying with soft brush. Okay, so I'm going to do the outfits. I think I need an image where he's looking down. And I might need to move them further away. Let's see. Yeah, he should be on the right layer. There we go. I didn't see the white. There we go. Just throw the white in there. A little bit right there. His forehead pops out just a little bit here. A little bit right here on the brow. I could say made you look or something like that. Just kidding. He's like, heads are fucking roll. Alright, so let's get back to the texture brushes. Under touch-ups, old skin is already selected, and this one should still be porous. So let's do this thing. Another thing I could do is probably take this brush down a little bit, so the grain of it is not so prominent. But I love what it does. Okay, so let's take that and we'll smooth this out. Now it looks like it's all just one tone, but let's see. We'll bring this down some and bring this down some so it's not so prominent. And give it like just a little bit of variance there. And then we'll just soften up the lizard skin here. There we go. Throw some light on here. And then we'll take that down, take that down. And we'll soften that. Right here. His cheekbone comes, or his cheek here comes out a little bit more. Okay, I got a little less than 10 minutes to go. Okay, so I think so far I've done 3 panels. Yeah, my quota, I've got to do 5. So I'll do like maybe 3 in the morning and then 2 at night. Yeah, it's just this, it's pretty brutal. Riding home in the heat lately, it's just been like 90 degrees and stuff. Yeah, I get to work and I'm sweaty. I come home from work, I'm sweaty. I'm probably a stinky mofo, I tell you. There we go. I'll make this darker on this side. Darker, darker. And just kind of soften it a bit. Bring his lip back. Now, if only I had the same kind of energy to do cars and buildings and just... I'd be dangerous. I'll put a little bit. And I'll just kind of soften that. His eyes look creepy. Let's see. I'll switch it back to soft brush and black. Another thing I like using in the eye is the fine hairbrush. Bring it down like really small. And it'll give you those rods and cones. And we'll just kind of soften that. Oops. This reminds me of like the artwork that you'd see back in the 50s or something like that. We'll give him a little bit of stubble, not too much. Let's see, it's under touch-ups. Just a little. Okay. We'll throw in some frown lines. We should make him pissed. Let's make his eyes more narrow. Alright, okay, so almost time for me to go, but that's pretty much where I am right now. So I've got this one, and let's see, I didn't do too much on this one. I think this morning I was working on some of that. Okay, so now I've got this page here, chapter 2.9 and 2.10, and maybe do a few touch-ups on 11 and 12. So 4 more pages to go. Not bad, not bad. And then maybe I might throw text on 13. So if I was doing this, yeah, all of it could use a little something added to each one of them. So now I got to do the heads and the body language, or I can just kind of skip a page. But I want to be able to talk about, you know, that he was in the military, and you know, this is what got him out of it. Yeah, it's the nightmares again. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Like, subscribe, suggest, and if you you know, contribute a little bit or hang out with me a little bit, you might find you in here as well. Let me show you what I had done with some of the folks that did, you know, that do hang out with me. In one of the pages here, this will be in chapter 3, I believe, I had added them in her dailygram. These are the folks that hung out with me, you know, and then some people that, you know, just kind of, you know, gave me some inspiration and stuff. So I have myself in here in the center. My daughter's right next to me. She was going to be doing the coloring, but I decided to just go black and white. So I'm going solo, yo. Got Ian, who pops in every now and then. Tatted Hearts. Right next to me, and then I got Julie, who, you know, she listens on the side. Hello, Julie. And then we also have my best buddy over here, and then Holloway. He hits me up every now and then, but I never have a chance to talk. So it's always. And then Ian suggested, you know, instead of me using Apple, use Peach. So I'm like, oh yeah, that works, because Kim Kardashian was known for her ass. And this is like, this character here is inspired by her. This picture here, this is why I think it should be in color, because you can see things better in color than in black and white. If this was in black and white, you wouldn't have as much of an idea of what's happening as you do right here. Like this monster is coming out of him and manifesting on her camera. You know, he's got a heart on right here. Looks like I got some fingerprints or something like that in here. But yeah, he's got a heart on that she covered up with an eggplant. You know, she's doing the little cat thing, and she turns around. Oh, and you know, money makes me moist. On her panties, and she turns around and there's the monster, and it's huge, it's massive, and it's beautiful in color. I don't know, I'm strongly wondering if I should go color, because this was impressive in color, but now that it's in black and white, you can't see shit. I do have a color version saved though. Yeah, so anyway, I'll let you guys go. And thank you for joining me. Feel free to join me in my next chapter. Hopefully, before the end of the week, I'll have this chapter done and starting on chapter 3, where we find our way to the club and into the arms of more monsters. You guys have a great one. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.